everyone, welcome back. This is the second video in the Yoga for Pelvic Floor Pain series. Today I'm going to talk about my personal experience with vulvodynia. And if you're not familiar with that term, please check out my first video. I go into great detail about terminology and some definitions. And also be sure to follow me on Facebook, Yoga with Nazareth, as well as subscribe to this channel. I'll post the links below. My pain began early in my teenage years. I remember the first time trying to use a tampon, and it was very difficult to insert the tampon, and even when I did manage to get it inside, it just felt very uncomfortable, almost as if I was sort of hitting a wall or there was like a block. I also would experience spasming both vaginally and rectally during my period, and it even increased to feeling burning sensations when I became sexually active. It would occur beginning of intercourse and last throughout. The pain was always there, but also had periods of relief, so it wasn't incredibly concerning at the time. The pain became more of an issue after the birth of my first son. During childbirth, I had an episiotomy. And an episiotomy is an incision that's made at the muscular area beneath the vagina right before the rectum, also known as your perineum. And after I had the episiotomy, I had a 6-week checkup after delivery. And at this checkup, they looked at my incision. They also looked at other areas in the vagina, and I was told that everything had healed just fine. The incision was clear, and I was given the okay or the go-ahead to become sexually active once again. I remember the first time having sex with my husband after childbirth, and honestly I knew right away something wasn't right. It just felt wrong, and it also felt as though it just wasn't fitting right. But this was the first time having sex since having a baby, so I just chalked it up to this was normal, and I'm sure it would get better. However, it did not. Each time we had sex, the more the pain became present and noticeable. And it shifted from just feeling like an off feeling to more intense sensation. I felt a tearing sensation at the opening of my vagina. Quite frankly, it felt as though the skin was going to rip in half. I felt throbbing and stabbing like pains. I also felt intense burning to the point where I would describe it as if acid was being poured on my skin. It was very intense. So at this point, I realized this isn't normal and that I should seek some medical attention. So I called my gynecologist, I made an appointment, and described what I was experiencing, just, having pain during sex, and it wasn't pleasurable. The doctor examined me, and once again I was told something very similar, that the episiotomy had healed, there was no other issue, no signs of infection or disease, and that most likely this would just run its course. Give it a couple more weeks and I should be feeling better. However, the pain didn't get better in time. In fact, it got worse, and I would describe the pain as somewhat of a pattern. It would continue to get worse. I would seek the help from another doctor at another office, and I would be given the same answer every time, that nothing was wrong. And the pain increased to the point where now not only was sexual intimacy a problem, it affected my day-to-day life. Standing, walking, sitting for long periods of time became intolerable. My regular activities such as exercising or riding a bike, I just couldn't do it anymore because I was in constant pain. And although I was reaching out to doctors, quite honestly, I was being dismissed. I would be told that they didn't see anything wrong, that perhaps it's in my head. They would suggest that maybe it was my husband again who was not being a very considerate partner. And each time I'd leave the office, I would feel more and more discouraged and feel like I guess nothing is wrong. And the worst appointment I had was actually with a female doctor, and when I explained to her what was going on, she looked at me, said nothing's wrong, and actually said to me that most women don't even enjoy sex, as to imply that this is normal, get over it. And I just kind of gave up at that point. I remember leaving thinking, I guess something is just wrong with me, and this is going to be my life. I'm not going to find pleasure with intimacy, feel pain all the time. I didn't know where else to go for help. So at this point, the pain had been going on for about 2 years, and I finally decided, for whatever reason, to open up to my mom. She was the first one I told, other than doctors and my husband. And I shared this information with her, and shortly after I even shared my pain with a close friend, and both of them were adamant in that I shouldn't be experiencing pain during sex. They both were so concerned and worried for me and kept telling me that this isn't normal. And seeing their reactions and seeing that they don't experience this type of pain made me realize that I needed to get help. And I remember deciding, if no one else was going to help me, I was going to advocate for myself, and I was going to find an answer no matter what. And my mom was very persistent as well, and she found the National Vulvodynia Association. There's actually an association for our vaginas. And through that website, we found some resources, and one of them is a book called When Sex Hurts. And this book changed my life. I ordered it right away, and immediately I felt, for the first time in 2 years, that someone understood my pain. And not only was I finding answers for my pain in this book, I also found resources that were available to me that I did not know about prior to reading the book. And in my next video, I'm going to share those resources with you. I'm going to talk about getting diagnosed, what my treatment was like, and how it really began my path to finding health and healing. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you taking the time to view this video. Please be sure to follow and like my Facebook page, Yoga with Nazareth, and subscribe to this channel. I'll see you next time.